All right, guys. I think I have fooled around long enough. Fooled around long enough. And the reason I say that is because it's been over 2.5 years since this video. Well, not since this video, but since we changed transmissions in Edna last. It's been a good run. But we never found out what happened to the rebuilt transmission. And I know I said that we would eventually go back to figuring that out, but we have not. So we're going to figure that out now. So it took me a minute. I had to come out here earlier because I forgot which of these two transmissions was the rebuilt transmission that I rebuilt, and which of the transmissions was the rebuilt transmission that needs all new bearings and a synchronizer. So I kind of had to look because they're both kind of sitting here and roughly look about the same. And I remembered that the rebuilt transmission was silver for some reason. And that one has silver paint on it. The other one does not. So that's the one I rebuilt. But it makes a clicking sound now, which is why we put in the used transmission, which has been running fine for the last couple years, with the exception of the seals that I have not yet changed, which is coming very, very soon because I'm sick of it leaking. I bought the stuff over a year ago now and still haven't changed the seals. So that's coming very, very soon. And I kind of figured, why don't we find out what's wrong with the rebuilt transmission? That way, if I get in there and find something that I don't like with the other transmission when we change the seals, we can easily just swap this one in, if there's not much wrong with it. So let's do that. I've been kind of deciding if I want to keep the pallet shed now that I have an actual building, although I don't really want to put all this stuff in there. I want to add, some eaves. Get this stuff where it's a little more out of the rain. Still heavy. Still heavy. There we go. I'm going to cheat and use my bag that I take with me for junkyard type stuff. It still turns. Let's see here. Getting it off of this so we can still turn the... It's been sitting a little while. I don't hear anything in that gear. What gear are we in? Must be some surface rust in there. Started out a little bit crispy. There's first. Why is it stopping? Weird. Are we hitting something? Why are we not going any further? There we go. Push past it. Maybe that's the click. Well, there's another one. Another stopping spot. Is that in all gears? Or just some gears? That's first. We seem stuck. Second. That's Seems okay in second. Did stop for a second. Third. This way it feels easiest in third. Seems okay here. So it's first gear. I don't remember exactly what happened. I just remember the sound. I don't remember if you could hear it in all gears or some gears. There we go. First. Well, I'm turning now without getting stuck. Whoop, got a little bit of a jump there. Yep, right here. There's a jump right in this spot. And so now we got to get in here. Put that in there. I'll put this one on the other side so it doesn't want to rock. Allegedly. So let's zip off the shift tower. Like I said, it's been a while since we've been in here. I'm assuming that I might have gotten in here before, partially because I came right off. What's our fluid look like here? Let's get you guys in here where you can see. So, ooh, I guess water did get in here because this looks really rusty right here now. All right, what do we see? I remember in my original transmission, before we rebuilt this one, this gear right here, well, this gear was like sharp. Like all of these had been ground down where they were sharp like blades. You could actually cut yourself on them, just about. And somewhere down in here was like a burr. Like it looked like something had broken off, gone through the gears, and just got smashed in there. And I went in there and did everything I could do to kind of chisel it out and make it a little better. But that transmission was gone. I don't even have that one anymore. See, we keep getting into areas where we're stuck. So what we have to do is see, there's a lot of crap in here. I think this transmission ran good for about a year, maybe. But it definitely got some rust buildup on it in here. This gear basically turns all the time, and it turns the one under it all the time. This is your first and reverse, I believe. What's funny is there's so much crap in here. Well, not crap, but the gear oil is so thick that you really can't see these as well as I would like. What can we do about that? Found this little piece of wood, which just check all these out. See if anything just has a thing on it. I remember the first time I got into this thing, and if you've been with the channel for a while, you were there for it. But I was terrified when I first opened this thing up. Seems so complicated, but they're really not that bad once you kind of get used to them. Now, obviously, it's been a couple of years since we were in one of these, the three that I have. And so it might take a little bit of remembering to get in here. But we're doing... That's got to be all the way around. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. I'm just trying to make sure that I go all the way across in these. That one's got a little bit of a rough spot. But yeah, I mean, everything was working in it fine. And, we were driving around and I was just, I think, on my way home from work or something. And all of a sudden it just started making this clunking sound. And so that weekend, I yanked the transmission out, put the used transmission in, and that one's been in there ever since. And that one works fine. Usually grinds when you go from one gear to the other. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so it's a little temperamental, but its only real issue is just that it leaks so bad. And I wouldn't say bad. It's just messy under there. Like, I mean, I'm not having to add fluid all the time, but it's just a greasy mess. And I'm pretty sure it's leaking into the bell housing and getting onto the clutch housing and everything. When we took out that starter to get that new prong put on it recently, it was very oily. And way to clean that off before it went back in. Or it might have been before I even took it to the alternator shop. I wonder if this is a professional way of doing this. To the real rebuild guys do this. I am kind of surprised about the rust buildup on it, which I'm not super happy about, but I think if we take it apart, clean everything up, put it back together, wouldn't be too big a deal. I think this one's good too. The old one was down like in here somewhere. Where it sits, it really doesn't get... I'm sure it probably gets moist around where it's at, but it doesn't really get rained on directly. Maybe if there's high winds or something because the front's open, but it doesn't just get soaked every time it rains. I mean, you can see doesn't appear to be a bunch of water in here unless it's in the bottom. That's right, oil floats. So I guess if there's any water, it's going to be on the bottom. Everything in here seems to be kosher, I would say, thus far. What if I stick this down here? There's a way to tell if there's water in there. Can't really tell. Going back a little further, you guys may or may not remember. Let's see, here's the reverse gear. Check that one out too. We rebuilt this transmission and it worked great for 2 days. And then it started clunking like crazy. And it turned out, I don't remember what they call the gear, the main cluster gear that goes on the bottom that you actually can't see at the moment, had a part of a tooth break off of it. And that one, I was able to get another tooth from Ken at early Ford V8 sales. And we put that one in here and then it was fine. All right, so at least as far as these ones, these all seem okay. So those are not the clunking sound. I'm trying to think of what happens next. As far as what do you do to take it apart? I think next is, you know what, I got an idea. Maybe see if anything broke. Let's run a magnet down in there. See if we pick anything up down here in the bottom. I would say it's possible. If we're making a noise, there could be a chunk of something in here. It's funny, my brother said not to touch the transmission that's in it and change the seals on it because, you know, I've had so many issues in the past, and this one is running there good for so long. He said, leave it alone or you'll curse it. Could also mean something seriously internal. All right, let's clean this off. Quit monkeying around. I think if anything, this back half has to come out and the front half has to come out. I think these are 9/16. They are. I think that the bottom bolts actually have to come out. Or not the bolts, but the pins. The pin type things. Oh yeah, now we're gonna get messy. Get this back half off. That's all the screws, and I'm missing any. Oh, yeah, still missing. You guys knew. You didn't say anything. It's funny, I feel like this operation needs to be surgically clean. When you hear about guys rebuilding these things on the side of the road. Well, we're still not breaking free. There's no more bolts. Some good sealant. I guess those seals were working good. It's not greasy in here at all. Now we got a mess. we're making messes. All right, I think what we need to do next is that. Keep this rolling by putting that there. And what are we going to do next? We got to get this pin has got to come out. Get to the messy side of this project. Come out, pin. I need you to exit the transmission. It's greasy, and my hands are greasy. It doesn't want to move. Yes. This. Oh, there's the other one. I didn't see it. This is a very tiny cotter pin. Almost got it. There we go. It's out. Now, the pin has got to come out. The big long pin that holds in the other pins, which is also stuck. Once this pin that runs across here-ish, oh, you guys can see this. Yeah. Once this pin comes out here, this pin and this pin can then move. So, we got to get it out. I can't see it because it's got sealant all over it on purpose. And the reason is because if it's going to leak, after you put all new seals in it, that's where it's going to leak. One of the reasons that it chooses not to leak is because this gear oil is so heavy. Apparently you can go with a lighter gear oil, but from what I've heard, it's pretty much guaranteed to leak at that point. I like that little ball peen hammer. All right, now I think I need pliers. Those aren't doing like I hoped they would. This is supposed to be simple. Slowly but surely, I think. When in doubt, use a tiny screwdriver. Is it moving? Maybe, maybe not. There was a little bit of water in there. I just heard it drain out. Why, oh why, does it not want to come out? This is not the way this is supposed to operate. Isn't it supposed to get easier as you go further along? There we go. Maybe. If we quit looking for reasons to stay in there. Now, we can do two things. We can pull the reverse idler out. We can push that one through, and we can push the other one through. And then we should be able to take everything out and look at it. So let's see, where is... This one's a little harder to get to because your clutch fork is in the way, but you can move it, I think, if I remember right. Yeah, I can see the outline of it right there. That's right, that doesn't come through there. That has to go in, I believe. Yeah, that's got to come out. Then this has got to come off back here. Everything goes through there. I believe there's a pin or something that has to come out. I'm thinking here. Like this should be close to coming out. But we got to drop that gear down because something, I think it's part of the gear, touches this thing. What do we do? How do we get this out? Oh yeah, okay, I see what to do. We pull this pin here, allegedly, for the clutch. And then this whole pin for the clutch should come out. Like that'll slide over here, out of the way. And this is supposed to come out. Gotta tap everything out of here, apparently. I was expecting better stuff. Oh, I guess it's not going to go anywhere if you're sitting on it. There we go. Stuff's happening. There we go. We got it. It's out. No more clutch thingy. And that's the pin we got to knock out right there. So we'll grab this and this. I mean, if you're not doing everything you can with a punch, what are you even really doing with your life? All right. Let's see if we can make this even messier. I think I got to bring you guys back over here so you can see what I'm doing. So we put that through the pinhole that it was in originally. And I believe you can actually use this like a T-handle. Use your original pin. You know, if it doesn't get stuck in there like it was before. Maybe we just use the screwdriver. Trying to keep stuff where you can see stuff, but you can't see stuff. So we back up a little bit. But we put our screwdriver through here, and we twist Yeah, there's water coming out of it. That's not cool. Maybe I need to go back to using the punch and my tiny hammer. I like my tiny hammer. So you can see the water coming out. So I guess it wasn't as clear. Jesus. I do not remember that looking like that. Well, we found a problem. I'll get this out, I'll show it to you. A major problem. How's that even happen? There's a bunch of crud coming out of there. Messy. This is not coming out like it should. I wonder if it's got anything to do with, the way that it is. I'm gonna stop playing around and use the big hammer. Oh man, I got oil on my tripod. I don't want oil on my tripod. Why is this not coming out? This is definitely a problem. I can't even show it to you yet because I can't get it out. Is it moving? Maybe I should get this chair out of the way. You guys tell me if it's moving. Is it coming out? Yeah, it's coming out. It's got to come all the way out before we can get too far. Oh, for a second I was like I lost my hammer. You're getting close to the end of the table here. Right. Gotta twist it out. Hopefully, there we go. Just like that. I think. Get out of there. Oh, cool, we got one out. So there's that one. We've already determined it's okay, so it's got to be in the main cluster. But I think we found a different problem that might be what's wrong. I gotta get this pin the rest of the way out so we can see. This thing, there we go, it's out. All right. Look at all that water. Apparently there's a lot of water in there. This is not what this is supposed to look like. This shaft is supposed to be completely smooth. I need a paper towel so I can show it to you. You can replace these But we've had, apparently, a big problem. Which is funny, because this thing felt like it was running fine until the clicking started. This groove should not be there at all. I don't know why it's there. It's completely worn in right here. You guys see that? That's bad. That's not just bad, that's really bad. I figured this thing would be ready to just, get one or two parts and be ready to go back in. That is not the case. What's next? This can't come off unless I pull these clips off. Let me see if I can. You can buy new ones, so I'm not too overly concerned. Plus, these aren't the stock ones anyway. If I remember right, I didn't have the correct one to go on here. And I had to put one C-clip on here. And then take another one and grind it down just a little bit for spacing, because I couldn't find anything thick enough. Struggling here. Come on now. Everything's so slick in my hands. Got no grip. Let's get a flathead screwdriver. So that we slid those off, and I believe that gives us the clearance to pull this out. And we pull this out. That fell apart, which is not surprising. Look at that. That whole bearing came apart. That probably has something to do with why this shaft is so messed up. Oh, that's supposed to be in there. That fell out. That's a bushing that goes in there. For a second, I was like, why is this laying in the bottom? There's the other one. I think there's one more. What else is in here? Anything? I don't feel anything. I think all the water ran out. The only thing left in here is the reverse, which should also be able to come out, but... So this is our cluster gear. We had to replace this last time. It's currently the nose on a drive shaft man at Carolina Driveline. I don't see... Well, I'm missing I'm losing some bearings. I don't see anything jumping out at me. Whoa, broken tooth. Right there. So that's an issue. That could be the clunk. But why is it so torn up? What is that? That is bent. That's not supposed to be that way. So that's awesome. So this transmission is totally screwed. Not really the way that I thought that was going to go. I was kind of expecting the broken tooth, which we did find. But I was not expecting to see this shaft worn out. I was not expecting to see a bent... I don't even know what you call that for the roller bearings. It's like a cage for it. I was not expecting to see that bent. And I was not expecting to see this shaft looking like it does. And look at that. It's not supposed to look like that. It should be flat all the way across. And there should be no groove in this end. We're going to have to clean this thing up. A lot. And see if we can figure out what went wrong with it. But that is going to be a project for another day, because it is now 5:12 on Valentine's Day. So I'm sure Mary wants to do stuff. Plus my watch keeps going off. Chance is texting me at the moment. It's like I gotta be in more than one place, is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna see if I can do some research on this, talk to some people, if you will, and see what they say. But we're gonna have to put a lot of work into this mess to make it work again. Work I was not expecting. But maybe you guys want to see me rebuild this again. Although I don't know if you can qualify the original situation as rebuilding it if it was this bad after driving it for a year, which I think is how long it was in there, roughly, maybe. So anyway, we'll be back. All right, so I got things to update. So I went back and I watched a few of my old videos to see if I could figure out what happened. And it's not as simple as I made it sound initially. So in the video where the current transmission went in, I explained what happened to it. So I'm going to have past Chris tell you about that. So the plan was to go to Cars and Coffee today. If you saw the short I posted yesterday, then you already know where this is leading. We're changing transmissions again. So ever since I put this transmission in, we've been running it for almost a year now, and it kind of seems like it seemed like it had a couple of problems the first couple of weeks it was in, and then they just kind of magically resolved themselves. But at the same time, it's also kind of slowly declined over the last year. Kind of seems like as I've driven it, gone from like occasionally you'd hear it grind a little bit in gear to doing it most of the time to suddenly getting this weird pop in first gear to dropping out of second. It suddenly started making the same noise that it was making about a year ago when I first put it in, where it seemed like as soon as I would leave the driveway, it would act funny for the first few miles. The driveway I have here is really, really steep. I don't know if that's related to it, but it seems like that's when it wants to do it. So I don't know why. Could also be reversing it before I pull that out of the driveway. I feel like I shouldn't drive it anymore until we put a transmission in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in the used transmission that I have that has not been rebuilt. The only issue with it is that it's got 10 pounds of old grease and dirt stuck to it, which I'd really rather not put it in that way, so we might try to clean it up a little bit before it goes in. All right, so after that, I went back and I watched another video of mine, and that one was the video where I reassembled that transmission initially. Actually, I watched two videos. I went back and I watched the video where we put it back together with the new main cluster, and that one I didn't see anything that seemed bad as far as like something we might have screwed up when we were putting it together. Although I did initially, when we rebuilt it the first time, I went back and watched the full reassembly on that, and I didn't spin the shaft on camera. Well, I didn't spin the transmission on camera. So, but I did mention that it seemed kind of tight, but did spin all the way around. So I don't know what's up with that. And then, obviously it was like perfect for like 2 days. I wouldn't say obviously, but it was perfect for like 2 days. And then that was when the two gears broke. And then it was out for a little while I ran the rebuilt transmission. And during that time, I put in the new gear that I got from Ken at Early Ford. And I didn't see anything really wrong in that video as far as the assembly. So I'm not really sure what happened here. If you have experienced this before, feel free to leave a comment below. See if maybe you have some idea on how this was, because I felt like as far as the actual rebuild, everything was pretty straightforward. I watched the videos from Zach at Wired Customs, and his video was really it's really informative. I kind of was hoping mine was going to be really informative, but apparently it wasn't. Well, I wouldn't say that. I would just say that obviously the transmission didn't last. So I really don't know what happened. I don't know why it's so torn up, but here we are. So now we're not going to rebuild this one right now, because now I'm in the boat where both the rebuilt transmission and the one I rebuilt are now in the same boat, where they both basically need new synchronizers and well, I don't know if that one needs new synchronizers, but why not while you're in there? But it needs new bearings and it needs new synchronizers, and so does the quote-unquote rebuilt transmission. So I don't really like spending the money on that right now, but either way, I should have enough parts between the two transmissions to build one good transmission, allegedly. So for the time being, I guess I don't have a transmission that I could swap in if I needed to. So I guess we're just going to go ahead and do the seals in this one in the near future, maybe in the next week or two, I hope, if I can get the motivation, because I don't want to. but we need it. So anyway, hopefully you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed the transmission teardown, diagnosis, and all that. Don't forget, guys, adventures are out there everywhere. You can follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and now Patreon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.